There has been an awakening. Have you felt it? The dark side. And the light.
Hello and welcome to a very special Force-powered edition of the Fandomain. It's been over a year since the very first episode was broadcast, and in that very first episode was the lovely Miss Kristen Rose, and she is back again with us today. How do you do, Kristen?
I do well, thank you. It's good to be back.
It's very good to have you back. Now, there's a bit of a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey situation here because we're recording this before the 18th of December, and now for you listeners, it's the 24th of December, so it will be after The Force Awakens has been unleashed in cinemas, but we can still pontificate and see what we got right, what we got wrong, and what was clearly just barking mad. So, let's start with a few rumours. One of the main big rumours is circulating around the new lead characters. We have Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, who is the main protagonist, so it seems.
Kylo Ren.
Yes, played by Adam Driver, is it? Who seems to be the new big bad. John Boyega, who's going to be playing Finn, someone who seemingly comes from the new Stormtrooper legions and seemingly joins forces with the new good guys, the Resistance. It always sounds like Terminator Salvation to me. You are the Resistance. So it's a good mix of leading stars, and of course we've got the old guys back. We've got Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mr. Mark Hamill, who we have not seen in any trailer whatsoever, we don't think.
Which scares my poor little fandom heart here.
Because the only clip we think Luke Skywalker is in is that one in front of the fire with R2-D2, because we see an artificial hand, but we don't see who that hooded figure is. So what do you think could be going on there?
One of the rumors is that the Stormtroopers have been taught that Luke is a villain.
Yeah.
And that I guess the Jedi have again gone into hiding and secrecy. We have that scene that we see of Rey asking Han Solo about the stories and if they really happened, and he says that yes, the Sith were real, the dark side's real, the Jedi were real.
Yeah.
So 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, there's some question out there in the galaxy far, far away whether the Jedi were real.
Yeah.
So we have that whole issue of why would Luke be in hiding? Why would he be absent? Why, is what we're seeing there is he's sending R2, his loyal companion, off to send a message out there again. So it's hard to say. There are rumors that we won't see Luke until the end of the movie. And but we know that Mark Hamill has been filming episode 8. So
yeah.
So
it's also interesting because on the main poster, Mark Hamill has the second main credit of the film.
That's true.
Even though he's nowhere to be seen on that poster,
or in the trailers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford is listed first. Mark Hamill's listed second. I'm wondering if it's going to be like there's going to be a bit of a presence with him, a bit like Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now,
right.
Constantly referenced and constantly talked about and everything, and we see images maybe, but we don't actually see him within the context of the story until maybe the last
until later,
until the last act or something. Might be something like that, but it's all very interesting. But one of the craziest rumours I've heard is that Kylo Ren is Luke Skywalker.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
It's very weird. It's believable to a degree. The most telling piece of evidence that it isn't is that if you look at the body of Kylo Ren, so to speak, if you look at his frame, his body structure, it looks too thin, too tall, too lanky to be Mark Hamill. It doesn't look like him at all. Doesn't look like it could be him.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and as well as that, we've seen Mark Hamill in the Comic-Con behind-the-scenes footage, and he's grown a beard. We see him with that Obi-Wan-esque beard, and why would he go through the effort of growing that and having his hair, cut to suit if we're going to have it covered up?
That's true.
And can you imagine trying to cover up the beard that he had with Kylo Ren's mask?
With that mask.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm saying that's a big no.
So then we have that scene in the trailers of Kylo Ren speaking to the burned mask of Darth Vader, then saying, I will finish what you started. So is he hunting Luke?
Yeah,
since Vader destroyed the Jedi.
Yeah, because that was the whole main thing about Vader in the original trilogy, wasn't it? The whole he hunted down and destroyed the Jedi Knights, So, because obviously, when he says, I will finish what he started, we don't actually know what he's referring to. It hasn't been confirmed what he actually means by that. Yeah, like you say, the most obvious thing to go for is the hunting down the Jedi.
Right.
So that might explain why he seems so single-mindedly focused on John Boyega, because he has Anakin's lightsaber, or at least ends up with it somehow.
Somehow has it. Yeah.
And we see how viciously Kylo Ren is about to attack him. So
Right.
it is an interesting prospect. I mean, thing is, we've gone to Finn, the seemingly turned stormtrooper. You mentioned the propaganda earlier. I think I've read somewhere in one or two places that he, along with the rest of the First Resistance, has been continually fed this propaganda that Luke was trying to destroy, the how benign the Empire was and everything, and
Exactly,
him and his
yeah.
friends, the Rebel Alliance, and etc. Yeah, and it seems like he meets someone from the Resistance, and that looks like another one of the new guys, played by Oscar Isaac, Poe Dameron. And it seems like he comes across him, and then we'll know by this time it goes out what happens there. But it seems like Finn is told something that makes him say, "Oh, wait a minute, I should change sides, and I should maybe rebel."
Right.
Yeah. So.
And again, in the trailers, we hear Finn's voice saying, I have nothing to fight,
Yeah.
made to fight, and I have nothing to fight for.
Exactly.
Maybe with the Alliance, he finds something to fight for finally.
Indeed.
So.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a logical character
Leap.
But it's interesting that I should say he's nothing to fight for as well, because all around him, with him being a part of the new First Order Navy, he's got all the comrades and ships and everything, and in a way he's got everything he'll need. He's got a whole load of resources along with the rest of the military. So what would make him actually say he had nothing to fight for?
True. What has happened? Yeah.
What flipped his switch? What's kind of funny as well, but it's also a bit cruel. Nearly every time we've seen John Boyega's face, especially in the earlier trailers, he looks like he hasn't got a break.
That's true.
It just looks like he's
It
so
looks-
exhausted, panicked, worried, out of breath. Just like,
and stunned by everything. Just
yeah. Just think, poor fella. Yeah.
It looks like one continuous bad day.
Yeah.
For poor Finn.
It's my first day.
It's my first day as a stormtrooper, and look what's happened. I
My
think
ho-
I'm a rebel.
My whole world has collapsed. Yeah. But
I meet this lady with a funny robot.
But that's the thing, because we see him with Anakin's lightsaber. This is just my idea, but I think that is a red herring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think that either he finds it or somehow comes across it and suddenly, tries using it, he turns it on, etc., and he thinks he can fight with it.
In a desperate situation, this is the weapon I have.
Yeah, exactly.
And not. Oh, this guy's a Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
To be.
Yeah, because considering who he looks like, or who he would look like the most, we're not sure he comes from the Skywalker family.
Right.
Yeah,
His lineage seems to go the Lando Calrissian way.
yes, that's the rumour. I mean, let's say for the sake of argument, he does have Force abilities. He can use the Force. He is a potential Jedi. Mace Windu as a ancestor.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah.
Let's go back further than the
Yeah.
original trilogy
I
into
mean-
prequels.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously that might not resonate with some fans too well, but it's Samuel L. Jackson. Come on.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said on an earlier episode of the Fandomain with Nathaniel Miller, the Netman. Samuel L. Jackson still wants to come back to Star Wars, because he's convinced, and I buy it, that we didn't actually see Mace Windu die.
Yeah.
Because we saw his hand cut off, saw him go electrocuted, thrown out of a window.
But both of those things have happened to Luke, too.
Yeah, exactly.
All three of those things, yeah.
All three of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Senate building that he got thrown out of, the whole outside of it is just one big dome that leads to the ground, or where the ground of the building would be. It's completely feasible that he didn't die. So I can sort of come up with a few ideas about that. And maybe when he landed on the ground, Boba Fett was there waiting for him. and had him frozen carbonite, just to keep as a trophy. That'd be different. Surprise in the new trilogy, and Boba Fett returns, and he's got Mace Windu kept in suspended animation, and then
And the fan fiction wheels are turning. What
Yes.
happened to Mace Windu?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's the potential for Finn. The main rumor for Daisy Ridley's character Rey is that she is the offspring of either Luke or Leia, most likely Leia, and she does have a similar look to Natalie Portman and Carrie Fisher when she was in the original trilogy.
That's true, she does.
Very similar look, and obviously when they cast prequel characters, Padme and Anakin, they compared them, to Hamill and Fisher,
Right.
to say, yeah, I can believe that, I can believe
Right.
he's the father, I can believe she's the mother. And so this is kind of why I think Finn is a red herring Jedi, if that
Right.
makes sense. Because going back to that potential scenario, he could be trying to wield that lightsaber, but because of how scared he looks when Kylo Ren goes to attack him, maybe he realizes, oh, wait a minute,
Oh.
I can't do it.
I'm in a little too deep here.
Yeah, drop the saber and run. Yeah,
Well, we do know that Rey has not seen her family since she was 4 years old. That's been in articles.
Yeah, that's
And-
been a recent
yeah.
revelation. We're recording this at a time when all the TV spots are being released now. All the main trailers have done, so we're getting lots more tidbits of information now. So it's a far cry from a year ago when we hardly got anything at all, and that was really infuriating. Especially for me. So
Yeah.
just like by the end of last year, we knew about 10 things.
Yeah.
And I made a blog post about it, just listing off what we knew, and it wasn't very much. I mean, there were good things like, filming on 35mm, potential for IMAX, which has come to be now. Can't wait. A bit of a plug for the Media Museum IMAX in Bradford. Go to see that. It'll be playing right now. So
Run on down there. Spend your Christmas Eve with Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
That sounds beautiful to me.
So yeah, like I say, that's why I think he's a bit of a red herring, because
Well, it makes more sense for Rey. If the lineage rumors are correct, she would be the one with the Force power.
yeah, exactly.
But they're throwing us something to lead us off the path, maybe.
Yeah, of course. Remember, this is J.J. Abrams in charge, and
Yeah.
Remember what happened with his last film and trying to guess this, that, and the other. I mean,
That's true.
although to be fair, last time that was a bit more evil. This time, I think he's learned his lesson. So so far he's just keeping quiet about certain things. I mean,
Yeah, he is.
yeah, he's not trying to outright lie to us. He's just keeping stum, which I think is the best decision, But yeah. And
Our TV spots that we keep going back to.
yeah,
We're seeing and hearing that that voiceover that may or may not be Lupita Nyong'o, her character. It sounds like it could be her. We'll
Yeah.
see. And they show her. We're assuming she's speaking about Rey and talking about that she's lived long enough to see the same eyes on different
yeah,
people.
exactly.
And when she says, "I've seen your eyes before," it cuts to Han Solo.
Yes.
Like, oh, is that
It-
another red herring, or is that actually an implication?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tried discussing that beforehand, didn't we? Trying to wrap our heads around, what could possibly be going on with that,
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, who is Lupita Nyong'o playing?
Exactly.
I mean, the name we've been given, I'm saying that carefully, the name we've been given is Maz Katana, and I've been
Right.
I've been trying a little bit to see if there's a hidden in that name, and we've actually seen Maz Katana, this new character, on that big main poster that we've mentioned before. She's right in the middle, slightly to the left, a little orange alien with big goggles and
Right.
what looks like a welding torch.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping Lupita Nyong'o was going to play one of the characters that have come from some of the TV series, like Asajj Ventress.
Right.
When she was first announced as being in The Force Awakens, that's what a lot of people thought she could play, Asajj Ventress.
Right.
Because she's got such a distinctive look that would be difficult to replicate, just makeup
Costuming
prosthetic.
and yeah.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But yeah, it seems to be this new character who, like Yoda, has lived quite a very long time. So, and she seems to be in charge of this castle place. It's difficult to describe, you know. And apparently she's a pirate as well. So what were you saying earlier about in the TV spot when she says, "I've seen your eyes before," cut to Han Solo. Maybe she knew Han Solo a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because she's a pirate. So,
Right.
Yeah, potential.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
But one thing we definitely do know that's not really too much of a mystery anymore, that we've been excited about since the very first teaser, which was shown about this time last year, the new cute little droid that we've been saying. BB-8. Oh, man.
I am so in love with BB-8.
I think everybody should have a BB-8 in their life.
I think so. I can't get enough of BB-8.
Yeah.
So.
Every time we see BB-8 in shops, you know, have this.
That's exactly
Yeah.
it. Does it talk? Can I hear BB-8? That's right. I would love to get one of those little remote control toys, but they are very little and edible by dogs. So.
Yeah. You have 2 big dogs now.
I have 2 big dogs, and one would eat BB-8.
Yeah, probably chase it around first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the Sphero one. It's the more technologically advanced one, and it's controllable by smartphone and everything, and it's out on sale for quite a while now. But
that's right.
Yeah, but it's really expensive. I mean, but there is one by Hasbro, which is about twice the size, and it's just a remote control one, but it works in more or less the same way.
Right.
So, and it's less than half the price. So that's the one I'm after right now. Because BB-8 is a tiny droid, especially compared to R2. She's like nearly half his height.
About half his size,
half his size. It would be fun if someone actually did a life-size BB-8. It'd be very doable, I think. So I think the biggest R2-D2 we've ever had was like this multimedia centre, as it were. A very nice bit of kit. But that was quite a while ago now, and obviously that would be very expensive to get now. I mean, it would have been expensive on release, but, especially now, But one of the best things about it is that he could roll his legs back so he could lean backwards and project onto the ceiling as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was basically a big computer.
That's really
that you could play
cool.
things through.
I have to laugh about Star Wars merchandising now, though.
Yeah.
Because you like when we walked into Toys R Us the other day,
Yeah.
the gigantic displays, the multiple displays, the detail, the range of sophistication and prices, and even the obscure characters have toys. And I think about back in 1977, the way Star Wars merchandising began with nothing, because they didn't anticipate Star Wars to actually do anything.
Yeah,
and suddenly people are showing up at the store saying, "Where are these toys? Where can I buy these toys for my kids?" And there's nothing.
But that was the thing when Star Wars was first on the scene. Virtually nobody had any belief in it.
Exactly.
Which was the sad thing, really. I mean, it was only really Steven Spielberg who had confidence in Lucas when they were shown, the very first cut, which was a very rough cut, as Spielberg said. Spliced with World War II footage of aircraft.
Yes,
that sort of
for
thing.
the battles.
Yeah. And it's like he's the only one who really saw its potential.
Right.
And, credit to Spielberg for, giving Lucas that kick to say, this is possible, But,
Exactly. Keep going. Yeah.
And all the shame for Fox for not capitalising on that deal that Lucas made so he could get all the, the merchandise profits.
Right.
So it's
and that first Christmas, that was the Christmas of the empty box Christmas.
Yeah, because you didn't get figures, you got a display for the figures.
Yeah, you got little certificates that you could send in for the figures.
Yeah.
Which now, I mean,
seems ridiculous.
How many hundreds of dollars does it cost to get one of those empty boxes with the certificate still in it?
Yeah, exactly.
But
would
collector's market there.
Would anyone even be mad enough to put it on sale?
Exactly. Exactly.
Little slice of legendary film history.
Exactly. In marketing, how do you market something you don't have?
Exactly. Yeah. But But look at the way it is now. We keep seeing all these films that could have potential merchandise sales, and they do bring out stuff for them, and every so often it just falls flat in the face, because
Right.
all about the money. And it's like the new RoboCop reboot. There was loads of toys, but I never saw them being sold.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, personally, I quite liked the new RoboCop. I don't know about you. Have you seen it?
Actually, I haven't seen the new RoboCop.
Oh.
I think our buyers of this merchandise have become more sophisticated too.
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
where back in 1977, I would have gone bonkers about the little Star Wars action figures that came out.
Yeah, yeah.
Even myself, when I go look at the big displays, it's not the action figures I'm drawn to. It's
Right,
whatever's, oh, what is this? What is this new thing I've never seen before?
Yeah.
What is, we want more detail. We want that accuracy. We want the craftsmanship. We want to see almost a piece of art.
Exactly.
In what we're collecting now.
And arguably, that's what I'd say NECA does all
Right.
the time, because
Right.
the hand sculpted stuff for the products, it's just amazing what they can do. And especially with the likenesses they have, Arnold Schwarzenegger in 7 inches looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It doesn't look like
Right.
anybody else. It's not a smushed version of him. It is Schwarzenegger. You got a
Yeah.
mini Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And I showed you the other day Ripley from Aliens.
Right.
And she looks dead on as well.
She does.
Yeah, and
Right.
they got a few of her figures out, and faces in figures tend to be very difficult, but NECA have perfected it. So,
Yeah,
so
they
more
have.
or less, and they just keep improving themselves, which is amazing.
They set a pretty high standard.
Indeed. It's like, compare that to the mass-produced stuff from Hasbro. I mean, if they spend a bit more money on them, they can be quite good.
Right.
But, like the 6-inch Black Series figures, but that comes at a cost as well.
It does.
A very
Right.
high cost, like 22 quid for one of those, and it could be
Right.
6-inch scale Yoda, which is only like 2 or 3 inches, and that's priced at the same as a full human-sized
yeah.
figure, which is, ridiculous. But yeah, this is why I really loved the vintage collection that Hasbro did, before they started doing the Black Series figures. Because the vintage collection were like the pinnacle of Hasbro 3 3/4 inch action figures.
Right.
Because they all had super articulation, they all had a decent amount of accessories, they all had good paint jobs, great likenesses. They were amazing, really. And then they sort of split their figure ranges into 2 halves, because at one end you have the Black Series stuff, which do keep the quality up, but at a higher price. And then, suddenly, on the other end, they argue it's for the kids, but kids are clever these days, they know.
No, yeah.
Yeah, at the other end are these 5 points of articulation figures, the level of articulation that was back in 78,
Right.
They've suddenly introduced those types of figures again, and I haven't seen these being flying off the shelves at all. I mean, there's a term that's used in toy collecting, either peg warmers or shelf warmers, when they sit on the pegs or shelves for long periods of time because
Right.
nobody buys them. And
That's
you know,
right.
these 5 points of articulation figures, I think we're going to see them around for a while. But yeah, can you really talk about Star Wars without toys,
No, you can't anymore. You really can't anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, so BB-8's the one who led us down that
Yeah,
little
exactly.
path, but
Exactly.
you have to wonder what his gadgets are going to be.
Yeah.
R2. I'm sorry.
Or she.
She.
Yeah,
BB-8.
we've read that
Yes,
BB-8
that's
is a
right.
she, which
Is
is
a she.
amazing.
That's right.
Yeah, like Obi-Wan's droid.
Where R2 has emerged with all of these amazing gadgets we
Yeah.
saw in each film that R2 was in. He had something new that he did. Even going back to the prequels, we saw, oh look, that's how R2 climbs stairs.
Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
what's funny about R2-D2 in Episode 2 is that he's it's sad to say, but he's virtually useless until Geonosis.
Yes.
We see him, like you say, extending his legs to go upstairs and go downstairs on Naboo and everything. But then suddenly he gets these rocket jets out of his legs.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like,
he does.
What?
He does.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, wow, you've never done that before.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've had those this whole time.
Yeah. And what also gets me about that is that's the kind of upgrade Anakin would do.
Yes.
But we know that R2-D2 has spent the last 10 years with Padme.
Right.
And as we know from Episode 1 and 2, The Gap, Padme and Anakin never met since
In between,
since
right.
The Phantom Menace. So what did Padme do to get R2 those rocket boosters?
Right. She's obviously been taking very good care of R2.
Yeah.
We're proud of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying she can't,
We're
but
not-
it's just one of those things that makes you think, wait a minute.
Somewhere she has an R2 mechanic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that will be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
You know, what have we not seen of BB-8 yet?
Yeah, because we've seen on her body, her ball-shaped body, that there are sections within her orange circles, and one of them looks like it has the same sort of layout of arms and things that R2-D2
That R2
has.
does.
But of course, obviously, because she rolls on her body all the time, you know, it has to be smooth and everything. So maybe things do pop out like R2, but, you know, I've just got this image. That section of her body won't always be in front of her. She'll have to keep manoeuvring every time she's in front of a control panel to actually activate it, you know, and R2's just in the back going,
Let me do it.
it's just it's a flawed design. But
Well, and speaking of the droids, C-3PO has a red arm now,
yes.
and we don't know why, and it sounds like we may not find out why.
Yeah, you're still curious about that, aren't you?
Oh, very.
Yeah, you're still wondering how it got in. But I've actually been satisfied because J.J. Abrams was asked about it. He basically said it was something to show, you know, passage of time. He compared it to wrinkles or scars on someone's face. You don't need to know how they got there. It's just, you know, over the years things have happened.
Things
like that.
happen. Things change.
Yeah. So when I read that article, I thought, yeah, okay. but the thing is, 3PO's always had an odd leg.
Yes, he has.
Especially in the original trilogy. He's always had one silvery leg, and that was never explained.
That's true, it wasn't.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, when Star Wars first started, this is why everybody loves the whole universe building thing and everything, because there are lots of things that they talk about especially in the original Star Wars that we didn't need to know about, but they were still part of that galaxy, part of that universe.
Right.
It's just like the Kessel Run. What's the Kessel Run? Don't care. You know, he did it. It sounds good. That kind of universe building was like one of the inspirations when Travis Beacham wrote Pacific Rim. And that's why I think Pacific Rim was done so well, because there was stuff in there, again, that didn't need explaining. They were just there, you know, and you just accepted it because it made that universe more believable.
Well, yeah, it lets you know this world already has a history.
Yeah, exactly. And
You're coming into the middle of the story.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, or when the story of the film, the story that we are telling you starts, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
This is one of many stories.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of thing is good because it avoids a lot of painful exposition as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, because there seems to be an attitude with producers, especially in Hollywood. If it doesn't mean anything, why is it there? But going back to Star Wars again, it looks like Abrams is very aware of that sort of universe building aspect of it, which is very promising. But yeah, going back to BB-8, what interests me about BB-8 is that, like Chopper in Star Wars Rebels, again, another tiny droid, smaller than R2.
Right.
Both Chopper and BB-8 were based on concepts by Ralph McQuarrie when he was originally designing R2-D2.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you'll know what I mean when I talk about the original art that McQuarrie produced of R2 and 3PO in the desert.
Yes.
And 3PO looks very Maria from Metropolis.
Very.
That was the image that captivated Anthony Daniels to the role. So he says, yeah, R2's in the back with arms coming out of his heads, and obviously, they didn't go with that, but those arms were on Chopper.
Right.
For example.
Right.
And with BB-8, the whole rolling body, they wanted to see if they could do that way back in the 70s, but obviously the technology wasn't up to
Wasn't
speed
there.
to be able to do that. But
Right.
now it is.
Right.
And I absolutely loved Celebration Anaheim that they actually brought out BB-8 on
BB-8,
stage,
yeah.
so it could actually show that it wasn't a CG effect. It was she was actually a real creation, and
Yeah.
she looked incredible,
and blew many minds in the process.
Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
it's just like
because the assumption up to that point was what we were seeing in the teasers was CGI.
either that or
Yeah.
just a head on a rolling wheel or something.
Right.
And it's like, what's going on here? Magnets or what?
Yeah.
So should be fun to see BB-8 on screen finally.
So I'm so excited, and I have been from day one that for that original cast to be coming back.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, when I first saw Star Wars when I was 8 years old. You know, they're the ones near and dear to my heart.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and to see them coming back and see their stories continuing is
Exactly,
amazing.
yeah.
And to see that Chewbacca is alive as he's not
Yes,
in the novels.
yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there was a big controversy when it was announced that the original expanded universe would be put to one side and
Right.
for the new films. I mean, yes, on the one hand, you're basically ignoring years and years of work that other people have contributed and done and everything, but on the other hand, it actually frees up potential storytelling, potential continuity, potential things that they can do. And this is another reason why there's a rumour that Rey and Kylo Ren are brother and sister, and not just brother and sister, but the
But
children of Han and
twins,
Leia.
yeah.
Exactly. Because they had twins in the original expanded universe.
They did.
Yeah.
Jason and Jaina, yeah.
Yeah, and the brother turned evil there.
That's
you know,
right.
turned to the dark side, and she had to strike him down
Right.
eventually. So yeah, it'd be an interesting inspiration. And to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case with Rey and Kylo.
Kylo.
Because of all the things we don't know about Kylo Ren, we definitely do know that that's not his name. It's a title.
Right.
Yeah, like Darth Vader.
Like Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The Knights of Ren. Because Kylo Ren, the name itself doesn't sound all that threatening or villainous, but the Knights of Ren, that sounds good.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
The Knights of Run.
So it sounds very fantastical as well. It sounds
It
like
does.
sounds like something from Warcraft or Middle Earth, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Right.
So yeah, you mentioned going back to Chewbacca, because what was the original expanded universe story with Chewie again? He sacrificed himself.
To save Leia, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was something to do with the moon.
Oh, I don't remember.
I've got it in my mind
I
that.
think I've blocked it from my
Yeah,
mind.
because obviously.
I was very upset.
Yeah, because how can you kill Chewie?
Can you kill Chewie?
Yeah.
Yeah. A sad roar. Yeah.
Because I've got it in my mind that a moon crashed on him or something. Yeah, but no, I'm not sure. But like you mentioned, doesn't matter now. He's alive.
He is alive.
He's alive. And oh man, that shot we saw in the second trailer, you know, right at the end.
Yes.
Rome. Oh man,
Oh, goosebumps even now.
exactly.
I mean,
It makes me
yeah.
well up just thinking about it.
Yeah, I know. When I first saw that, I was like, boo hoo, look.
Yeah. It's that trailer and the very first teaser, they both started showing you new stuff, and then right at the end, you get something classic that everybody
Right.
loves, just to make sure we're back in Star Wars land. You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it'll be wonderful to see when we do hit the theater, and by the time this airs, some of you will already have seen this and experienced this, to be in a theater with people of all ages. There will
Yes.
be small children, there will be older people who who maybe they were teenagers, you know, when they first saw Star Wars
Yeah.
in the theater in 1977, and that will be an awesome experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, a multi-generational experience, and you don't see that with a lot of movies.
No.
You can't go to a lot of movies and have that experience in the theater.
I'm trying to think of anything else that came out this year that had that sort of thing. Jurassic World. is
Jurassic World would be one.
Probably the closest.
Yeah.
You know, this year so far. I mean, yeah, you could argue about the Marvel stuff, but it seems to take a while to get the older generations on board with
Yeah,
the,
that's true.
the Marvel things, you know.
Yeah.
But definitely not DC now.
Yeah.
Because not your dad's Superman. No, bloody definitely not my Superman either. God.
Well, to a certain extent, the same with Batman. But
Yeah,
You know.
but at least Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy actually had some quality to it. Can you tell we don't like Man of Steel?
really, back to Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah, anyway, that's yeah.
Back to the aliens we like.
Yeah. Yeah, because every time Star Wars has come around with something new, it's always been a new generation. So, you know, obviously you have the original trilogy generation, you have the prequel trilogy generation, and then you have the Clone Wars generation as well. And
Right.
now you have not just the Rebels generation, but Rebels and new films.
And new films.
Yeah, at the same time. So, which is quite exciting. But But yeah, I think I've mentioned before how I considered myself to be of an ideal age, to get into Star Wars, because when the special editions versions of the trilogy were released in 1997, I was 7 then. And, it's just like, as soon as I saw them in the cinemas, I thought, right, instantly. I mean, well, I didn't think that, but it was like almost instant. Wow.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's right.
and then soon after that, a year or two, no, either later that year or the year afterwards, I read that even more Star Wars was being made, and when I was that young back then, any Star Wars was good Star Wars. So new trilogy coming, Phantom Menace 2 years after seeing the original trilogy, and then Attack of the Clones in 2002. It was only by Revenge of the Sith I really start to get the concept that maybe the prequels aren't as good as the originals. but there's some relativity to it. I mean,
Sure.
obviously, if the prequels were the first films you saw, obviously they'd be more closer to you.
Well, and there's a certain element of, like with the merchandising, what the consumer expects nowadays.
Exactly.
In 1977, when I was 8 years old and saw Star Wars for the first time, I didn't want to be there, believe it or not. And I know. We were driving my aunt crazy, and she wanted to keep us quiet for a while, so she took us to the movies. And so I'm sitting in that seat, and the lights go down, and those ships are flying overhead, and you're introduced to Obi-Wan, and my little brain was just like, Knights in space. Oh my gosh. This couldn't get any cooler. And the special effects were not things that we had really seen before.
Exactly, yeah. Groundbreaking by
yeah,
ILM,
exactly. Yeah. And as the years have gone on, those are baby steps. Special effects,
Yeah.
And the audience doesn't have the same oh my gosh reaction to special effects that we did in 77.
Exactly.
So the splash that the movies make is very different.
As well. Because obviously when the 97 special editions were released, they introduced new CG stuff into it, especially with the first one. And so those were the only versions I ever knew, up until they fiddled with them again for the DVD release, and then the Blu-ray.
And fiddled again, and fiddled again, and fiddled again.
It took me a while to get the idea that Star Wars was released in 77. I thought, no, it wasn't, it was 97. And then, look, it's got CG in it. And I was like, all right, how did they do the Jabba the Hutt scene on Tatooine?
Right.
And I realised it. Oh, right. They did originally film it with a man. Okay.
And that didn't even make the final cut.
Exactly. Because he wanted to somehow insert a slug over the man.
Over the man.
Back in the 70s, but obviously back then he couldn't do that. Whatever we say about Lucas, we do say quite a bit. Whenever we do end up saying about Lucas, he does have a very technological mindset. He's a very technical director. He can see, especially back then, you could see what was possible, what would be possible, and what could be possible.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like, we can't do this now, but probably
let's hold on to it.
Down the line it may happen. We may be able to make it happen, and it did. So and talking about making a big splash with the special effects back then, it's like when CG first came about, that's why we hold big movies back in the early 90s with such high regard, because they made such a massive splash when CGI started to become augmented with live action. It's like everybody's jaws just dropped in Terminator 2,
right?
Like with the T-1000 walking through the bars, etc. And the reaction of the Doctor in Terminator 2 just
yes.
that was basically everyone in the cinema. Just like,
that's right. Right.
And a couple of years after that, Jurassic Park came on the scene. I think Jurassic Park was the first ever film I saw in the cinema. So it's like everybody else was following Dr. Grant, and saying it's a dinosaur. Yes, it is.
Yes, yeah. Looky, it's a dinosaur. And it really looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, especially with T2, especially with Jurassic Park, the CGI still holds up today.
Yes.
It still looks damn good today. I mean, I mean, of course, they
Yeah.
had help with practical stuff, like especially with the animatronics in Jurassic Park. And it's hard to believe today that some people think that the animatronics are CGI. Just
Right. Yeah.
yeah, because I remember thinking in the years following Jurassic Park, thinking, how did they get a real T-Rex? Just
Really.
that it looks real. I was actually scared of it, but I'm not now. I sort of cry with happiness over Rexy, you know,
Yeah.
especially in Jurassic World, you know, bringing it back and everything.
We love Rexy and Blue.
Yeah, amazing. But returning to Star Wars, of course, we don't just have The Force Awakens. We don't just have Episode 8 and Episode 9. We have the anthology films coming as well.
That's true.
This is unprecedented in Star Wars movie making. But heaven knows what we thought Disney would do with it when, you know, they took ownership.
Oh, that frightened me so very much.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they've done okay with Marvel.
Yes, they've done okay with Marvel,
Done
but
okay with
but
Marvel.
when it came to Star Wars,
Yeah,
they
we definitely
they were
felt-
touching sacred ground.
Yeah, we definitely felt a bit possessive of. I mean, after the initial shock, shall we say, I actually was okay with it because Star Wars has a relationship with Disney already.
Yes, they
Because
they did
the
rides
Star
and
Tours, you know,
yeah.
Disneyland World, whichever one is.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they have the ride in both places, and they actually have the a bigger setup
Yeah.
in Florida.
Yeah, and I'm so glad I managed to catch the original Star Tours ride before they revamped it as it is now.
Right.
So glad I managed to do
I
that.
haven't caught the new one. I
Neither
caught
have
the
I.
old one several times. But
Because apparently on the new one, they got dozens and dozens of locations that are randomised.
Right.
So-
They're in 3 different segments.
Exactly, yes.
Beginning, middle, and end, and it's all random every time you ride
Yeah,
it.
so on one ride you can go to Geonosis, another ride you can go to Tatooine, another one you can do the Death Star, another one Endor, Coruscant, Camino, whichever, you know.
Yeah.
That just sounds amazing. And now they've upgraded it slightly again to include Jakku, the new planets from The Force Awakens.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So you can fly along all the wrecks of the Star Destroyers and everything, and that sounds amazing.
I wanna.
I want it to.
I wanna.
I wanna. But yeah, like I say, Disney have already had this strong relationship with Lucasfilm anyway. So after that initial shock, I was silently confident, yeah, it could work. And considering what they're doing and what they have planned now, my goodness, was that a good move?
Right.
Yeah, because at the moment we have 5 consecutive years of Star Wars films.
Right.
We have 2 years between each quote-unquote episode, as it were, starting with The Force Awakens, then 8, then 9. But in between those, we have 2 anthology films, which is a genius idea, because, like we were talking about earlier with the universe building, Star Wars has such a rich universe to tap into.
Yes.
And, you know, if not, why not?
Why
Basically.
not?
And look at the talent they've brought on. I mean, yes, we got J.J. Abrams for this one, but for Star Wars Rogue One next year, Gareth Edwards, who did Godzilla and Monsters.
Right.
You know, listeners of the Fandomain and yourself, Kristen, will know how much I love Godzilla.
Yes.
So I'm so happy that Gareth Edwards is doing a Star Wars picture. And who else do we have? Episode 8 is going to be directed by Rian Johnson, who did Looper, and that I'm very confident about as well. And yes, Episode 9 will be directed by Colin Trevorrow, who did Jurassic World.
Right. Yeah.
Cannot wait for that. Yeah, they're all white guys, but considering what we've seen from them so far, I can't say no.
Right.
I don't know if we've got any info on the second anthology film too much, have we?
Not that I've seen.
I've heard it's I think it's a Han Solo prequel, Han Solo backstory.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah.
something going on there. I mean, they also want to do a Boba Fett story as well,
Yeah.
which I would definitely love. I mean,
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Talk about a character we don't know a lot about,
Yeah.
you know.
Plus, it'd be very interesting to see how Boba Fett would work if done the way we like. You know, like Empire Strikes Back, the way we like. Not Return of the Jedi. Yeah, it'd be interesting how that would work if he was spearheading his own story. Because Boba Fett was based on Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name from the Dollars trilogy.
Right.
From the spaghetti westerns.
Right.
And like Boba Fett, of course, he didn't say much, but he was still the main lead. So
Right.
So if they did a Boba Fett film, I would imagine it best way to do it would be like that.
Right. That makes sense.
So one thing I would definitely love is if Boba Fett went toe to toe, either as rival or ally or something, with Cad Bane.
Yes.
I would absolutely.
That would be
yeah.
good to see.
I would.
Yes.
Because Cad Bane is, of course, based on the other spaghetti western staple, Lee Van Cleef.
Right.
Yeah, Colonel Mortimer from For a Few Dollars More, Angel Eyes from The Good, the Bad and the Ugly.
Right.
So it'd be good to see him, because obviously he's a much older character than Boba Fett. So you'd have that similar dynamic as well.
Right. You would.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that would be my ideal Boba Fett picture.
Hopefully, we'll see them go down that route and tell us some more Boba
Yeah.
Fett stories.
Yeah, I'll tell him over Twitter, do this!
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I can see the email now.
Yeah.
If you want my suggestion.
So yeah, lots and lots and lots of good Star Wars stuff to look forward to as far as we know, up till 2020.
Right.
Of course, it's Christmas Eve, so all that remains for me to say is Merry Christmas for tomorrow and Happy New Year, and of course.
May the Force be with you.
And thank you very much, Kristen Rose, for joining us this year. We'll probably see you in another year's time. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So,
Happy to be. Yeah.
have fun, everyone. Until next year.
You have been listening to The Fandomain. Your host has been Adam Medalinsky. With special guest expert Kristen Rose, we hope you can throw sci-fi at the wall with us too. Next time you tune into The Fandomain on BCB Radio 106.6 FM, tuned into Bradford.